Welcome back to Legalese 123, where we are covering cases across America. Hello and welcome back to Legalese 123. I'm your host, Missy K. I hope you are doing fabulous on this Thursday, February the 5th. What do we got going on? Well, unfortunately, we're going to have to do a little backtracking because I want to make my channel clear in case by chance maybe somebody didn't get to see what had gone on, or if they only just watched me. So we are going to go back into the Brendan Banfield trial, day 8, and I'm going to spare you the lengthy detail of some of the painful testimony that has been given by the digital forensic expert in his case, Mr. Harry Ledisky. Now, mind you, very knowledgeable gentleman, very well-spoken gentleman. I'll tell you in just a minute what I think some of the issues are. So let's give a brief recap. As you may know, Brendan Banfield, who was a federal IRS agent, which means he carried a gun and badge, had made an elaborate plan to unalive his wife and a person he catfished. And reasoning is that he was in love with his au pair. She was 21. She and him created this plan about a month prior, and that they lured Joe Ryan over to have a sexual encounter with his wife, Christine, to make it look like she was the one that had the encounter, and that the encounter went awry because the man that she lured to the house unalived her. As you may already know, Brendan Banfield was convicted on Monday of this week of killing his wife and Joe Ryan, plus endangering child endangerment and using a firearm to commit a crime. His murder charges will be a life without parole. I think that's a mandatory sentence. We don't know what the firearm charges, and we don't know what the child endangerment charges will be. He is scheduled to be sentenced on May the 8th. But we also learned that our beloved Judge Penny, if you may have remembered her, she was the judge in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation case. She's retiring in June or July. I don't remember what she said. She's retiring this summer. So super sad because she is a great judge. So what do we got going on today? As I said, we're going to go back to day 8 because I was traveling. I believe that was on Thursday of last week. And I'm going to spare you. And here is my problem and or point. The defense, I feel, made a grave error by dragging out his testimony. They could have streamlined this so much better. And I don't know about you, but I know for myself, I like a good demonstrative. I like a good timeline. I like a good, visual person, right? I like a good, this happened this day, this happened this day, this happened this day. I understand their logic. They were trying to assess that, hey, it could have been Christine who was the one that was on her devices. It could have been her who was creating this account. And that is what they were trying to pose to the jury. Great defense. Unfortunately, you didn't wrap it up into a nice little bow for us and said, this day, this time, and spell it out for the jury. Listen, our attention span is very, very short. How many times are you looking at one thing and you're looking and scrolling on your phone? I recently heard that Ben Affleck and now his name is escaping me. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck had just come out with a movie. It is on Netflix. And they said that they have got to repeat the plot of the movie so many times because audiences are on their phone at the same time. I kid you not. So how many times are you watching Netflix or something else and you're also on your phone? It happens. Now, in a jury case, you can't be on your phone because that's not allowed, but you do zone out or you tend to disassociate, right? And even today in the pre-trial conference hearing that Judge Patricio had said in the TikTok psychic case, if you haven't seen that, go look at my YouTube, it's on there. He said that he shortens his trials in the afternoon on the second day because jurors lose interest. It's a fact. So Mr. Ladisky and unfortunately this defense attorney, they just drone on and on and on and on, and they don't circle back to what exactly is the point that they're trying to make, and it's painful. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, what we're going to do right now, and I'm going to parse this out, is you want to know who did a good job in doing that? The prosecution. That's right. They tried what they could to wrap everything up in a nice little bow and make it quick and precise. And that was a strategic decision that they made. And how do we know this? After the jury came in with their verdict, there was a press conference held by the DA's office in this case, and they said, look, we don't get a lot of murders, but when we do, we go forth with this effort. And they made a conscious decision. It was supposed to be a 4-week trial. They made a conscious decision to put on the specific people that they needed to and drive things to the point. They didn't want to belabor things. They wanted to make it concise, precise, etc. Now, in doing that, they could potentially miss an important witness or miss an important point that needed to be answered by the jury, right? When you're a juror, you have a lot of questions. And sometimes you don't get the answer to those questions. And then you're like, well, why not? Did they purposely leave that out because there was something nefarious going on? Or did they leave it out because they forgot? So jurors tend to skew one way because a question hasn't been answered. Because it's the defense and the prosecution's duty to answer all the questions. So I really love the prosecutor in this case. She was quite quick, precise. And so we are going to go over just her cross-examination of Mr. Ladisky, because if you didn't get Mr. Ladisky the first time he was on the stand and he was droning on and she said, objection, Your Honor, he's not answering the question. That was the preview as to how the rest of this was going to go. And I also realized perhaps maybe it was a defense strategy for Mr. Ladisky to be on the stand the entire day of Wednesday so that they had time to, and Thursday perhaps, they had time to stretch it out so that Mr. Banfield could take the stand later that day or the next day. I forget, my timeline is all messed up. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring this up. And then we're going to go forth. What does the prosecution have to say in this cross-examination of Harry Ladisky?
The use name, which is an email address, and
I think we're still on
a degree of scientific certainty.
Okay,
You've
so
come to a opine about the devices that were being used this day to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty.
I did.
And can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what that opinion is?
I believe Mrs. Banfield was awake that morning.
Objection, calls for speculation.
Sustained, we have to stick with the devices. Yes.
Mrs. Banfield's laptop was manipulated.
right, because he can't say that she was awake that morning. He doesn't, again, unless you know for certain that you saw her with your own 2 eyes, that she's in front of her devices and she's using them. You can't say who's using them. Oh, yeah. And this is at the end of his testimony. See why it's so hard.
At a point where other devices had left, I believe, had left the residence, and before anybody, to include Mr. Ryan, had arrived at the residence.
Thank you, sir. Judge, I don't have any further questions, sir.
Cross-examination.
Thank you.
Sorry.
And again, he is a great private investigator. I personally like him. I think he's a very well-spoken person, And I think that he did an amazing job. I just didn't buy what the defense was trying to sell. They didn't do a good job selling it. If they had framed it in a way that was easy to understand, and again, they had demonstrative timelines, receipts, whatever, and maybe they did, but we didn't get to see everything because we're the at-home players, and unfortunately, the law and crime people were maybe they were a little bit leery about showing things because they weren't sure exactly whether or not it was going to be explicit material or anything, but there's a lot of times that they could have shown things and they didn't, and then when they did show things, they quickly took it down, and so the at-home players didn't get to really play. But here we go.
I'll clear out.
Oops, sorry. She's taking a few minutes to get things up.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Well, thank you.
All right, so let's just go chronologically. I think it's probably a bit clearer that way. We start back on January 9th, 2023, 11:10 p.m. The Gmail account is created on a Samsung device. Is that correct?
Mobile device, yes.
Okay, and a Samsung S21 is owned by both Christine and Brendan Banfield. Is that correct?
His government phone.
Okay. You told us that Juliana's phone is not in the house on that day, but Brendan Banfield's devices are both present, correct?
To my knowledge, they were, yes.
Okay. When we then move to January 17th, 2023, we have what I'm going to ask the court share as
Yes.
defenses 128 previously admitted. If I can have just a second to get to it. If that could be shared with the jury.
Yes.
All right, so this is the photograph that we know to be taken of Christine Banfield by herself at Lifetime Fitness. Were you able to establish, as our investigators did, that this was Lifetime Fitness?
I saw that they had established it, and I didn't see anything to.
Okay,
to
so, and this is taken at 7 p.m.-ish, correct?
This is actually the sending of the photo from Mrs. Banfield to Mr. Banfield. The prior slide was the taking of the photo at 7:20, but this is the photo that was taken.
Perfect, you're moving us right along. So she sends the photo to her husband, who then comments, nice, right?
Yes, down at the bottom, in the middle.
A few days ago, we celebrated his 19th birthday. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Okay, so
All right. Okay, sorry about that. Having some technical difficulties. YouTube wants to put ads in, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. So let's do another take. We're going to kind of go back a little bit and see if we get no ads.
right?
Yes, down at the bottom, in the middle.
Okay, so while she's at Lifetime Fitness, she takes this selfie, sends it to her husband via Facebook Messenger. He comments, nice. And then just before 10 o'clock, someone with access to cbanfieldrn@gmail.com logs onto a laptop in the Banfield home, accesses Facebook, and pulls this picture down. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
And then sends this picture using CBRN 920 to CBRN 920, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and then this picture is taken and added to the new Fetlife account, correct?
it was manipulated in between.
Okay, so by manipulated, it was cropped, correct?
It was cropped.
Okay, so the laptop in the house belonging to the Banfields joins Fetlife, all while logged in as CBRN 920 at Gmail, right?
My understanding is the laptop was actually owned by Anova. And
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant the house owned by the Banfields. The laptop that we're examining here is in the house owned by the Banfields, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and that laptop searches for FetLife, correct?
yes,
And that laptop joins FetLife under the CBRN 920 at Gmail email, right?
it does.
Okay, and the laptop edits the Lifetime Fitness photo.
Yes, not all in order, but yes.
Okay, and meanwhile, all of this is going on the laptop. On the phone that we understand to belong to Christine Banfield, someone is using WhatsApp to talk about Valerie's day, right?
Yes,
And then by 10:45-ish, someone is Googling Lululemon, frozen tickets, and the story about the child who had their leg amputated, correct?
yes,
And then checks the C Banfield Gmail account at 11:30, correct?
I believe that's correct.
Okay, so you acknowledge we're talking about two different devices, right? The laptop and the phone, two different things happening.
Yes,
Okay. And you can't say who is in control of either device. All you can tell us is what the devices are doing. Correct?
correct.
Okay. And in fact, let's look at this. Apart from this usage on January 9th, 2023, the date of the initial creation of the CBRN email and the receiving of the Telegram two-factor authentication, I think, Christine Banfield's cell phone is never used to further this scheme, correct?
That's inaccurate.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you tell us where Christine Banfield's cell phone was used to communicate on FetLife or Telegram?
It was used for FetLife on February 14th, 2023.
You had not testified to that before. I'm sorry. When was it used on February 14th?
Just after midnight.
The phone, Christine Banfield's cell phone.
The same model cell phone, yes.
Ah, okay. A Samsung S21 was used on FetLife on January 14th.
Correct.
Okay. So going back to, we have no other usage of FetLife or Telegram with Christine's phone as this progresses beyond January 14th when we have an unknown S21 using FetLife, correct?
February 14th, but correct.
Okay, sorry. All right, so when we then look to, let's say, our next event on January 23rd, you've told us that 11:22, the CBRN at Gmail, CBRN 920 Gmail is logged into on the laptop, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you gave us 6 exhibits to show that Brendan Banfield was not at home when the FetLife chat was initiated, some 7 minutes later, correct?
Correct.
Okay, but you have not told us where Juliana Perez Magalhaes was, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and we see from the FetLife chat, I'm gonna ask the court to share Defense 191. I've got 181.
191.
191, but Judge, I have 181 pulled up instead. We can just talk about it. In Defense Exhibit 191, one of the FetLife chats, we see the discussion between parties, and the Anastasia persona says, "How has been your experience so far?" Correct?
Correct.
Okay. On January 30th of 2023 at 10:47 p.m., the CBRN 920 at Gmail account logs in to FetLife again, correct?
It does, I
Okay,
believe.
and we went through 7 exhibits to show that Brendan Banfield was in Reston near the Lifetime Fitness at 10:52 p.m. But Juliana Perez Magalhaes was at home, correct?
I believe she was.
Okay, and had been since she left Lifetime ahead of Brendan Banfield, correct?
I believe she also arrived ahead of him, but yes.
Okay, and in Defense 194, we looked at the FetLife chats and we see again the phrasing, "I don't plan on having many people anyways." That was one of the chats that occurred while Juliana was home and Brendan was at somewhere, correct?
It's a portion of the activity that occurred that evening.
Okay. Looking at February 7th of 2023, 10:02 p.m., CBRN logs into the laptop, FetLife, and we have 4 exhibits to show us that Brendan Banfield is at a Sunoco, correct?
I Can't see them, but I believe that's
Okay,
accurate.
and we don't have any idea why he's hanging out at a Sunoco at 10 PM, do we?
I assume getting gas, but I don't know. I was
Well,
not there.
he's there for a bit, correct?
3 minutes?
Okay, all right. So looking then at February 13th of 2023, 7:33 a.m., we have the CBRN login, again on the laptop, again to Fetlife. And again, we have 7 exhibits to show that Brendan Banfield is not in the home, but we don't know anything about Juliana, but for the fact that she's at home, correct?
Yes, and the fact that
Well, that was the answer to my question. Thank you. On February 17th, same story, 11:19, CBRN login on the laptop. He's not at the house. 6 exhibits to show us he's not at the house, but we got nothing on Juliana Magalhaes. And we have a Fetlife exchange that asks something about liking nurse in the scrub, correct?
again, not seeing it, but it sounds accurate.
Okay. February 19th, 2023. The laptop is looking for secure messaging apps. You brought out the fact that the 2-factor authentication codes that are sent to the phone are not deleted. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, but these are text messages that come through. You have requested this code if you didn't call for help, right? Something to that effect. We all get
Essentially.
those all the time, right?
We do.
Okay.
I do.
I do. All right, and when we move on to February,
Objection, Your Honor. She's testifying, and she's testifying to things of her own volition.
20th, 2023, at 10:58, we've got the laptop at home in use. And again, the location data suggests that both Juliana and Brendan are at Lifetime Fitness, right? Do you remember this one? This one's noteworthy because she's not on Fetlife.
She being,
Christine, presumably, right? The laptop is not on Fetlife. The laptop is not on Telegram during this window when Juliana and Brendan are both absent from the home.
that might be. I'd have to look, but I think there was a period of time. There's obviously a period of time before the activity occurs where
Okay.
I don't know where everybody is.
Right. Well, but we know that the adults are out of the house, but for Christine, presumably, and she's not using this opportunity to hook up online, right?
I guess that's fair.
Okay.
In which we appreciate.
But as soon as Juliana gets home, which we know because her iPhone connects to the home network at 11:06, by 11:08, we're logged on talking on Fetlife, right?
Possibly, I'd have to see the slides, but that sounds right.
Okay, I'm just noting from your testimony. If it sounds incorrect, let me know, we can dig in, but to the best of your recollection, did you testify that 11:08 CBRN is logged on, and then from that point, we move forward to chats with Fetlife?
It sounds accurate, yes.
Okay. At 11:58 that same night, Christine Banfield's phone sends a text message to Brendan Banfield, I think it's Facebook Messenger again, saying that she's going to bed, bring up the toilet paper, and Brendan responds, "I'll be up in a couple," correct?
I remember that, yes.
Okay, and then we see that Christine's phone, again, the phone continues to browse Sheen, nursing schools, and pens, right?
Sounds familiar.
Okay, meanwhile, literally 2 minutes later, Telegram is in use on the laptop. Correct?
Sounds accurate.
Right, so on the dot, midnight, that Telegram call takes place on the laptop. 2 minutes after her husband says, "I'll be up in a couple." Correct?
Sounds accurate, yes.
Okay. Moving to February 21st, this one didn't fall into your timeline, but did you see the Google return? And let me just show you Commonwealth's 243, Judge, I would offer at this point in time. And if I can have that displayed to the witness and to counsel.
All right.
Mr. Litsky, do you recognize this magnet report? I'm going to scroll down so you can see
Let us see.
processing details and then
We want to see. We want to see.
the extraction location, and then here we have the activity. Is this a magnet report from the Commonwealth's extractions of the devices?
This is not one I've seen before.
Okay. If I were to draw your attention to the device, as a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, which we understand to be Mr. Banfield's phone, does that help you identify this document?
I believe that's the model phone he has, but this document looks like it was generated 2 days ago.
Correct. Because again, it's an extraction, it's a report from the previous extraction. Are you telling me you don't recognize the phone as the defendant's?
I believe that's the model phone he had, yes.
Okay. Do you need another minute to look at this?
I haven't really seen anything to,
How about that? Is
Object.
that helpful?
Say something. Object, Your Honor. He doesn't recognize this.
okay.
Okay, and we can see that we've got the extraction, we've got the dump data, and then we see that this is a search performed on Google by Mr. Banfield's phone on February 21st, 2023 at 11:35 a.m. searching delete your activity, Android, Google account help. Is that correct?
It is.
Okay, Your Honor, the Commonwealth would offer this in evidence as Commonwealth 243.
Any objection? Put your microphone on again. What's your legal objection?
Legal objection, it's hearsay. It's Detective Miller's report. It's a way of getting around their expert coming to testify.
All right.
Judge, it's an extraction and a magnet report based on the extraction, the same thing this gentleman's been testifying to as materials that he reviewed to
But he
perform
didn't
his
Okay, hang on.
analysis.
Hang on. He didn't yeah. First of all, you guys are having standing speaking objections in which most courts don't like that. You need to have a 1 or 2 word speaking objection. Secondly, you need to go to sidebar because you guys are arguing open court. But I mean, I have to say that if he hasn't reviewed this and it's not familiar to him, then maybe he can't testify to it, especially if he hasn't seen it before. So I think it gets in. And she already blabbed it. So, I mean, it's not like it's not going to be.
Sure.
I just haven't seen.
Oh, she hasn't seen it either. Okay. Well, let's see. Does it make it in? Do they get to talk about it? Do they not get to talk about it? What's going to happen? Oh, evidence.
Thank you.
It's an evidence. So,
All right, so again, we've identified this is a Google search for delete your activity, Android, Google account help, correct?
It is.
Okay. February 23rd, 2023, we've got at 9:25 p.m., this is the night before the murder, all of the devices are home, correct?
Can you say the time again, please? I'm sorry.
9:25 p.m., February 23rd, 2023, night before the murder. All of the devices are home.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and from 9:25 to 9:40, the laptop is looking at Dominican resorts, correct?
I believe that's accurate, yes.
Okay, but for 2 minutes, 9:35 to 9:37, when someone hops on Telegram real quick, sends a message, and then pops back off, right?
That is accurate, the
Okay.
timing.
We don't see Telegram in use on the laptop again until 11 o'clock that night.
Correct?
The same time that we see Christine Banfield's phone pick up the search for Punta Cana resorts, correct?
It wasn't a search, it was a message with a link to a specific resort.
Okay, great. The phone gets busy planning this vacation, accurate?
Sure, yes.
Okay. You pointed out that there was a gap in the phone usage from 9:51 to 11 o'clock when it picks up with the resort, correct?
That was only with regard to either messaging or website visitation.
Okay. You can't say that Christine and Brendan weren't planning a family vacation. Can you?
I can't say they weren't.
Correct. You don't know. They could have been sitting at the kitchen table planning a family vacation that night. You have no way of knowing, right?
I do not.
Okay. And we only have those 2 minutes of Telegram usage. You can't say that he didn't hop on the laptop really quick, check Telegram while she was in the bathroom, hopped off before she got back to their vacation planning. Can you?
I cannot.
Okay. But at 11 p.m., we know that the two devices.
And wow, that's super sneaky, right? Remember when I think someone asked Juliana Perez Magalhaes whether or not she ever felt that she was going to be found out that she had the laptop. Like, for example, if they were using it in the kitchen or in the living room and Christine came downstairs, was she ever like, oh my gosh, got to quickly put this away? She said no. I don't know if they'll ask Brendan. I only watched a little bit of his testimony. I don't know if they'll ask him, but wow, that one is super sneaky, right? Just 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You have to kind of know that, like, either she's in the bathroom or where is she, that it's going to take a couple of minutes for you to hop on and hop super brazen and that you didn't get caught. But then again, he could have, if he was using the laptop, right, he could have been like, oh, I was looking at this. So then he, quickly gets off and gives it back to her. Oh, such deception. Tangled web.
diverge in what they're doing.
Let's back it up a
Was in
little
the
bit. Sorry.
bathroom, hopped off before she got back to their vacation planning. Can you?
I cannot.
Okay. But at 11 p.m., we know that the two devices diverge in what they're doing.
Yep.
The laptop moves into heavy, sustained Telegram usage with Joe Ryan, and the phone goes off to bed searching for vacations.
Well, you don't know that.
I didn't say, and I don't think I could say that the phone's necessarily separated
Right.
physically. There's no evidence to suggest that they did or didn't.
Okay, but their usage certainly separates in tenor, if you will.
The laptop transitioned to Telegram and Fetlife centric activity, and the phone, started with the vacation messaging and then just went into benign activity, minimal benign activity after that.
All right, Judge, I would ask the court to share Commonwealth 209 with the witness and counsel. Start at the top. Mr. Litsky, does this one look familiar to you?
It does. It doesn't, it doesn't, but
It does.
Okay.
It does.
it does.
Well, do
Does
you
it or
recognize
doesn't
this
it?
as a report from the extraction of Christine Banfield's cell phone?
I believe that's what it is. I thought the extraction from her cell phone had a different name, but otherwise it comports with that, yes.
And you were able to register from this document the activity of Christine Banfield's cell phone on the morning of the murder, is that correct?
Yes, I see that.
Judge Commonwealth would offer this as Commonwealth 209.
Any objection?
No.
Okay, 209.
Okay, and we can see from this document that at 6:46 a.m., Christine Banfield's phone is shut down, correct?
This would indicate that a shutdown profile was initiated, yes.
And Judge, if I can cut and move to Commonwealth's 207. This is the, do you recognize this document?
I believe I've seen this, yes.
Okay, and this is just the deeper dive into what the phone did as it began its shutdown procedure, is that correct?
Correct.
Commonwealth would offer this as 207.
Any objection? 207.
So with Christine's phone powered off at 6:46 a.m., we then know that Mr. Banfield is, as you correctly stated, seen on surveillance video at the McDonald's at 7:29 a.m., correct?
I think from about 7:20 to 7:37, yes.
Okay, he's there a while, correct?
He leaves and returns.
Okay, and then he goes into the bathroom for 7 minutes, right?
I believe that's about accurate, yes.
And at 7:24, you've told us that Juliana's steps stop. She's just waiting in her car, correct?
I don't know where she was or what she was doing, but her step count stopped, and I believe that's consistent with what I, from interviews and other witness statements, yes, that comports.
Okay, but you didn't track her travel to someplace else, correct? You said you don't know that she's waiting in her car, but you know she didn't go anywhere else, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and at 7:37, you know from the call records that Mr. Banfield receives a phone call from Juliana, correct?
Correct.
Okay, he does not call 911, correct?
I don't believe he did.
Okay, and at 7:42, you told us that Juliana is moving again.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so from approximately 7:25, 7:30, we have both Juliana and Mr. Banfield just not going anywhere, correct?
And out of the house, correct.
Okay. Couple of things I want to ask you about. Not sure if you can answer, but did you notice that on January 13th and 14th, there was no activity on Fetlife or on Telegram while Juliana and Mr. Banfield were out of state?
I'm not sure I noticed all of those things put together, but I know there were periods of inactivity, yes.
Okay, and another such period of inactivity was January 31st to February 1st when Brennan and Juliana were together in Winchester, Virginia?
That I am more familiar with, yes.
Okay. And just to be perfectly clear, we've been through a lot here and we've made it very clear, I think, that you can only testify to what the phones were doing. You cannot tell us who was manipulating the phones. You cannot tell us who made the phones do the things. You can only tell us what the phones were doing, what the laptop was doing, and where it was located when those acts occurred, correct?
That's one part of my analysis.
Okay, thank you. I don't have anything further, Judge.
Redirect.
Sorry, this is going to be painful. I can't do anything about it. I mean, I guess I can speak up, but we'll see.
Mr. Litsky, in terms of your testimony, when you're looking at devices, you're looking to determine if there are points or there are times when devices can be taken or can be moved or taken away from the person who would otherwise be, it would be their device, correct?
Yes, in a scheme as the one described in this investigation or the one alleged in this investigation, absolutely.
And we're talking about, you're talking about a scheme, you're talking about a catfishing scheme, right?
That is correct.
That was such a compound question. All right. No.
Correct.
And so one of the items that you look to is where are gaps where control can be lost, correct?
Yes, not only gaps where control could be lost, but gaps where there was positive control, if that makes sense.
And what do you mean by positive control?
Well, on the night of the 23rd of February, we have sustained activity from 10:59 p.m. through 11:49 p.m. So that's a full. It's almost an hour. It's 15 minutes. So there's an hour where a laptop, to Ms. Sands's point, that maybe was being shared at together as a vacation was being planned. We have a phone that's still active and in use. So that's a full hour where the laptop is just missing based on one aspect of this theory. And that's inconsistent with somebody who might be used to having their device close by. On the night of January 17th, we have the Fetlife photograph downloaded to Ms. Banfield's laptop at, I think, 10:03 p.m. And then 45 minutes later is when it was edited and uploaded to the Fetlife site. So whoever performed the activity at 10:48 that evening and manipulated the photo and uploaded it and created Fetlife had to have known and been the one that downloaded it 45 minutes earlier at 10:03. So that's a gap where either the entire laptop was, out of Ms. Banfield's possession through the government's theory, or somebody went in, performed some activity, got out, came back 45 minutes later, took the laptop and continued what they were doing. So there are stretches. It may not just be.
Okay. Again, that doesn't prove anything. It just says the laptop was in use at this time and it wasn't in use during this time, and then it got back onto use. But you still can't tell me that Christine Banfield was the one that used it. So again, I just feel like we're going in circles of there's this, there's that, there's this, and you're just blowing smoke up the jury's butts. And I'm not buying it.
For a 2-minute instance
Not
when
buying
somebody's
it.
at the bathroom. And my analysis and my opinions transcend the entirety of the window here from January 9th up to the morning of February 24th. So one instance might be explainable. 3 becomes a bit of a pattern. More than that becomes a trend. So I'm looking at this activity over time, over space, happening again and again and again and again.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about patterns of behavior, right? You have your phone, your significant other has their phone, you like rocks, and they like rainbows, right? Or they like watches, shoes. You like purses and whatever. So you would expect through the history of my phone to look at purses or whatever it is that I'm interested in. And then you would look at their phone and see that they like to look at watches, and they're looking at watches and you're looking at purses. Now, sometimes there might be an overlap, right? Hey, Christmas time, birthdays, Valentine's Day, whatever the occasion might be. That other phone might be looking at purses because, hey, you like purses, right? And my phone might be looking at watches because I might be thinking about giving them a gift. But if you look at so it's not only just what you're looking at, right? It's also the time frame you're looking at, right? What time during the day do you most likely use your device? If we'll just, in the context of Christine Banfield, right? It is after work. She got home. She's using her device to look up vacations. Is Brendan sitting next to her? Who knows? Who knows if he is or he isn't? But what is the likelihood, or what is the pattern of her behavior that if she was the one looking at Telegraph, right? Because that's what the defense wants you to believe. She's looking at Telegraph, right? At 2 minutes. What is the probability that she's using Telegraph if you look at the overall planned perception of who is utilizing their phone and what the pattern is? If the pattern is sporadic, you can't say, yep, that pattern is consistent and therefore that person's using the phone and that person's using this. You can't do that. If it's constant, right? If there's a constant, okay, Telegraph is only being used between this time and this time, or Fetlife is only being used between this time and this time. And then you actually, let's step back, you actually look at the overall pattern of this device. We're talking about the laptop, right? Let's just say, for example, Christine Banfield uses the laptop for her personal use after she gets home. We know she's home, right? Because her cell phone, her devices, her pattern of work, she's home at a specific time. And you look at that pattern, they have this plan happened for a year. You look at the pattern for an entire year, and you can kind of pinpoint, well, Christine Banfield got home. Now, again, you can't say who's using those devices, but if you have a pattern, you can kind of jump to that conclusion, right? Especially if it's a pattern of behavior of looking at clothes, looking at things that that person might be interested in. You have prior knowledge of that. So I don't agree with his pattern analysis. He can state what the pattern is, but again, you cannot tell me definitively which person's using that. You can a little bit when you're talking about patterns of constant look, like nursing stuff, right? Brendan Banfield's not looking at nursing stuff. He's not a nurse. She is. So you can say more likely than not, she's the one searching for that, right? Can you say that more than likely or not that she's the one on Fetlife? Are you saying that more likely than not she's the one doing Telegram messages, etc.? And also, we want to talk about the pattern of history. You look at both of her devices. She has no pattern or history of ever going on any fetish or Fetlife or corn sites, right? She's not communicating with anybody else secretly about having an affair, even though I know Brendan Banfield when he gets on the stand and he says that she had affairs. Prove it. Show me. Show me she had affairs. If not now, then when? Show me something that she had affairs. Now, mind you, they might not be able to. They only might be able to have looked at a certain timeline. But within this timeline, when was she having affairs? You can't. And not only that, I have to circle back. This does not negate the fact that two people are dead. And what is more likely to have happened, to have occurred, to have these people unalived? We already know, specifically with Joe Ryan, he was shot twice. Once by Brendan Banfield and once by Juliana. Both of you admitted to that. I will pause there because there's more to that. But I'm just okay. I'll get off my soapbox.
Whether or not it makes sense that the mechanics of the theory of catfishing sort of sustain over that time period. And I hope that makes sense. I'm also looking for consistencies in witness statements. I'm looking at whatever other data points I can observe in the analysis.
Now, with regard to a theory such as catfishing, there are inconsistencies that you look for if you're
Objection
investigating,
leading.
correct?
Sustained.
What, if any, inconsistencies would you look for if you were investigating catfishing? Or consistencies?
This prosecutor.
Well, there are a number of things that to me don't make sense. So the idea of, say, deleting the Telegram two-factor authentication message so that Ms. Banfield would not see it in the morning and realize that somebody had tampered with her device.
Objection calls for speculation.
That's right.
Should I just rephrase or?
No.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Sorry, Your Honor. Can you tell me how to do my job? Because she definitely has been helping you. Should I rephrase? Dude, that's up to you. You're asking the questions.
No, we have an next question.
Okay.
Thank you.
In terms of the data that you've analyzed, well, let me start over and ask you this way. These three accounts that were created in January are inextricably intertwined, correct?
They are.
Objection leading.
Sustained is.
What, if any, connection is there between these three accounts?
They are intertwined. As I believe I testified, the Gmail account was used to set up the Fetlife account. The Fetlife account was used to transition certain parties over to Telegram communication so that whoever set up the Fetlife account needed to have access to and be aware of the Gmail account. Whoever was using the Telegram account in this instance needed to be aware of the Fetlife account. And the Gmail account, unless you knew it existed and knew what the password was, you wouldn't log into it. You couldn't log into it. It's, it's like every other Gmail account we don't know about.
Right.
And that would get everything else started, correct?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
So one could say that somebody set up all three of those accounts because they're linked together. I got that. You're not telling me anything that absolves your client from doing these
And
things.
would that be required for the other two accounts?
Yes, the Gmail account was required to set up the Fetlife account, access to the Gmail account to confirm the Fetlife account, and the Telegram account was dependent on the Fetlife account. So anybody who has knowledge of any one of the three accounts owns them all in essence. You wouldn't stumble upon the Telegram account and just pick up a conversation that's been
Objection
on.
calls for speculation.
Sustained is speculation.
What's the likelihood of discovering an account such or
Objection foundation.
Finish your question.
what's the likelihood of continuing conversations that you discover that come from Fetlife or from Telegram?
Objection foundation.
Sustained is the foundation, if you know the foundation.
In terms of the theory of catfishing, did you have an opinion as to whether the alleged scheme by the Commonwealth is consistent or inconsistent with catfishing?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Have I asked that question?
And many more, but yes.
Yes.
Oh, did
let's
you hear
pull your-
that? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The judge, he's like, objection. She's like, yes, asked and answered. Did I ask that question before? And she said, yes, and many more. Judge Betty, you're funny.
Attention to 7:33 on February 24, 2023. Do you
AM,
remember,
yes.
do you remember what 7:33 a.m.?
Yes.
Do you remember what device was being used at that time?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
What, if any,
My gosh, so painful. I'm sorry. I'm so
based
sorry.
upon what you know through your investigation, were you able to conclude whether or not Christine Banfield had lost control of her device on that day?
Objection calls for speculation.
Right. You can't.
Sustain the objection.
You're all right. It's based upon his
If you want to
investigation.
approach.
Ah!
we talk about objections.
No standing objections. No standing objections. And all of that. He didn't say. He didn't. Oh my gosh. Your Honor, she won't let me ask questions. She keeps objecting, Your Honor. I'm trying to get these in, Your Honor. She won't let me. Oh.
In terms of January 9th, is it true that, well, what if
Objection
anything
leading.
would someone need to know in order to carry on these other account openings?
Objection calls for speculation.
Speculation, right.
Overruled, if you answer.
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
As to January
Right.
9th, what, if anything, would someone need to know in order to open up these other accounts?
So January 9th was the email account opening, the Gmail account opening. Uh, You just have to know how to open an account on Gmail, I guess. I'm sorry if I'm missing.
And well, okay.
Not picking up
and-
what you're
and
putting
if-
down, buddy.
If you did not open up that account on Gmail, how would you know, what other means by which could you know about these other accounts?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained the objection to that.
Okay.
In examining the accounts that are at the heart of this, which would be the Gmail account, the Fetlife account, and the Telegram account, we've already gone over. Gmail is crucial to that, correct?
It started, yes, it was required for the Fetlife account.
And in order to open the Telegram account, you would need the Gmail account?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Okay.
Right.
If you were not present at the Gmail account, would it be possible to open up the Telegram after it had been created?
Okay, that's a good question.
The Telegram was not dependent on the Gmail account, but it fed off the Fetlife account, which was dependent on the Gmail account.
Okay, and so the same question. If you weren't involved in setting up the suspect Gmail account, would you be able to communicate on Fetlife?
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled, if you answer.
Yeah, you can answer that one.
Sorry, could you ask it again, please?
If you weren't involved in setting up the Gmail account on January 9th, would you be able to participate in Fetlife conversations when that was open on January 17th?
No, you couldn't operate Fetlife without access to the Gmail account.
And counsel has said to you that you can't know who's behind any particular device, correct?
Correct.
And in digital forensics, that's generally the way it goes,
Objection leading.
correct?
Overruled, if you answered.
Generally, but inferences can be made with additional context and additional data points.
And so the analysis and the experience that one requires in order to come to those conclusions is in replace of having an eyewitness or having a camera or anything like that.
Objection
correct?
leading.
Sustained.
What are
What if
the
anything?
tools that you use in order to arrive at conclusions, other than having a
Objection
camera?
asked and answered.
Sustained, asked and answered.
Other than having a camera on someone and knowing if they're using a device, what, if anything, can you do as a digital forensic examiner in order to arrive at opinion relating to use of device or not using their device?
Well, quite simply, if there are three people involved in an allegation and two people could be confirmed out of the house, then I think a strong inference can be made that the third person in the house is responsible for device activity or internet activity, account activity that occurs from the house.
Now, was the Telegram application always on the laptop?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
I don't have any further questions, Your Honor.
All right, you can have a seat, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
I assume he's not subject to recall, correct?
No.
Okay, you're free to go if you'd like, or you can stay. All right, thank you. I think we'll go ahead and take our afternoon break. That sound good? All right, let's go ahead and take our 15-minute afternoon.
All right. So again, I said I was going to parse these out. So I'm going to parse this one out and let this one go and stand on its own. So that is the end of the digital forensic expert, Mr. Harry Ladisky. Again, he was very knowledgeable and I really liked what he had to say. Unfortunately, it was, again, even in redirect, it's so like over here and shiny object over here and what about this over here? And I realize as a lawyer you need to sort of think on your feet and you're constantly moving things, etc. But at some point in time you've got to wrap it up into a nice box and a bow and present it to the jury, because at the end that's what they want. And so yes, in the beginning you can be over here and over there, but in the end we just want something pretty and we want to see it, and we want to see it spelled out for us. How did you come to this conclusion? And what did you find here and what found here and what found there and what found there? So, I mean, he's absolutely right that if there are 3 people using devices and 2 of those devices are out of the house and 1 device is being used, and that is specific to that thing, this, and that, you can say, okay, more likely than not, that person's utilizing that device, but you can't say 100%, right? But as the prosecution pointed out, that there were times that Brendan Banfield wasn't at home, but Juliana was, right? And then there were times that Juliana wasn't home and Brendan was, especially Christine was home as well. Because if the laptop's not home to use, if Christine's out with her work laptop, no one can use the work laptop at home, right? So let me know in the comments what you think, whether or not you think that the defense did a great job in proving to you that Christine Banfield was the one that created these accounts. And she was the one that manipulated the devices, and she was the one that created this rendezvous, which happens. I also have to tell you that the rendezvous happened at 7:20 in the morning. Yep. So let's think about that logically. If you were going to have an affair in your home, and you created this rendezvous just minutes after your husband, your au pair, and your child have left your house. Minutes. And it's 7:20. What a specific time that is. Not 7 o'clock, 7:30, 7:15, 7:45, 7:20. That is the most bizarre, weird thing ever. Yeah, come on over at 7:20 on the dot. Just, who does that? Who does that? Someone who is not having the encounter. I'm sorry. Someone who's not having the encounter is the one creating the encounter, right? I mean, I give him credit. This was an interesting, elaborate plan. But when you're doing these things, there are many factors that you didn't plan on that come into things. You know, with the saying, the best laid plans. You didn't plan for everything, Mr. Banfield, and here you are. You didn't think you were going to be able to get away with it and live your happy, fabulous life with your au pair and your new life with your figuring out baby names and stuff. Anyways. All right, I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you for watching, if you're watching this one. And I'm going to head on over. We're going to do, unfortunately, all of Brendan Banfield's testimony. It's going to be painful, but that one we can speed up. So we'll see you again real soon. Thanks for watching Legalese 1, 2, 3. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe for more content.